Time now to continue the Pigskin preview here on the StatelineSportsHub.com. And with me today I have a former coach and friend from Belvidere, Matt Weckler. He's now the head coach at DeKalb, and he's in his second year. Good to hear from you again, Coach.
Hey, thanks for the invitation.
Your second year at DeKalb, you got that first year in under your belt. How does that make a difference as you prepare for this year at DeKalb?
Oh, it's just a huge difference. I mean, last year at this time, going into the season, I mean, we were still trying to find what kind of athletes that we actually had, and starting to place kids. Where right now we're already have all of our installs done throughout the whole summer. We know what type of athletes we have. We knew what type of changes we need to be made in the off season, and it just makes that coming into the season progress much faster and much easier.
You know, when you look at it, you also had to get used to new teams to play, new conference, and all those type of things, and that's a big adjustment because you had the years with the Nick 10, and you followed those teams and kind of knew them pretty well. But now you had to look at a new conference. Does that help as well?
Well, it helps a little bit. The system that we run offensively, it really doesn't matter what we're going against in terms of defensive scheme. We teach a lot of things that our blocking schemes and that kind of thing is dictated directly on what the defense is doing in their sets and that kind of thing. So that wasn't as big of a adjustment as I thought it would be, but it's a lot more fun looking at new teams. At times, you see the Sycamores and you see the Morrises and all those teams that are really good football teams, and you're wondering what they're doing, and now we're actually competing against them. So it makes the game planning each week more challenging, which makes coaching a little bit more fun than going against, the same guys that, you've coached against for years and years and know exactly what offensive and defensive schemes that they're run week in and week out.
The Northern Illinois Big 12 had some changes this year. They had a couple teams that are leaving. Did that change your schedule at all and make you guys have to rearrange who you play this year?
It did a little bit. We actually have one more non-conference game than we did last year. And all that basically did is the two teams that left were out of the western part of our conference, and that actually moved. We actually moved Rochelle to the west, but we still play Rochelle, so it didn't really change our schedule a whole lot in terms of that. We do, like I said, we do play one more non-conference game that wasn't on our schedule last year, but that's about it.
Let's talk about DeKalb this year offensively. How's things looking for you guys this year?
Well, last year it was a new system, and everybody was kind of learning a lot, and we definitely got better as the season went on. And this year we have a lot of our same guys coming back. Luckily, our whole backfield, besides our quarterback, is back. We lose a offensive tackle and a center, and that's about it. So, in the big scope of things, we kind of started where we left off last year, so our offense is moving pretty rapidly, and we're very happy with the kids that we have playing for us. And they remembered a lot from the year before, which was a very positive thing for us as coaches. We do miss an all-conference quarterback, offensive tackle, and a center. Those are big cogs to our offense as anybody's, but for us, that was our focus this year in the offseason, is finding guys to replace that, and I think that we've done a pretty good job of doing that, and I think we should be okay being able to move the ball this year. You
got that big-time running back there, too, don't you, yet?
We do, yeah. Dre Brown is still back. It's nice to have a player like that in our offensive scheme, not only for him to make plays, but also for us to know that teams are going to try to take him away, and it kind of sets up some other things. But yeah, having a player like that, that who already verbal to Illinois, graduating in December to take on spring practice out there, it makes things a lot of fun and allowed us to meet a lot of coaches and a lot of people.
When a player like that verbals, does that help you out as a coach because you don't have to worry about him having his mind somewhere else during the season?
It does, and honestly, I think it's a big weight off his shoulders. Before he'd be getting, each day he'd be getting, a handful of letters and phone calls, and I'd be getting those phone calls and everything each day as well. So, since he verbaled, that kind of cut those phone calls and the letters and all that kind of stuff down by 75%. He still gets them, I still get them, but it's less demanding as it was before.
Defensively, you got to have a good defense. That offense can put a lot of points, but if you let a lot on the board, that makes a long night for you and for your team.
Yeah, that's true, and that's kind of what happened last year. We installed our defense, and we were very young last year. I think we have 9 returners on defense, and there were some games we played very well and some games that we didn't play very well, and some of that had to do with some of the opponents that we were playing. And we played Canelan and Sycamore, who are perennial playoff teams, and so we gave up some points there. But just like anything, our defense is evolving with our kids. I think we moved some kids around as the season went on because of us just knowing the type of kids that we actually have per position. So this year going into it, we actually had a defensive depth chart already played out. So we know exactly who's playing where and who could do what and so on. So it made us a little bit easier for us to add some things to our defense that we didn't do last year. Last year was more of an install, just kind of getting guys in the right spot and trying to make plays. This year we're actually, having our scheme and adding to our scheme and our secondary coverages that will make us a little bit less vanilla than we were last year.
I've talked to a couple of smaller schools today, and they have to 2-platoon. It's kind of nice at a bigger school. You don't have to do that too much, I don't think.
No, we have, for the most part, my main goal is to get, guys going just one position and getting as many practices as we possibly can and repetitions at that one position as we can. My main philosophy is, if you're a junior, you're a starter, you're probably just going to play either offense or defense. If you are a senior, we do have, I believe, 2 or 3 kids that may be playing both ways, one of them being Dre. Kids that have that mentality, that athletic ability. It's hard to keep them off the field. We try to keep them off on special teams as much as we can, but for the most part, the 3 kids that we have going both ways are all kids that started last year, so they kind of have an idea of what their main role is, and then also learning a new position on the other side of the field this year.
How's the special teams looking this year for you at DeKalb?
It's not bad. We have our, we're very athletic. We have good speed, so our kickoff return is, I think one of our strengths. There's no difference between here and Belvidere in terms of trying to find a kicker every year.
Yeah.
So that's always kind of a struggle. We actually have a junior that has been kicking his freshman and sophomore year that, I feel pretty confident in terms of making extra points and, kicking the ball off. And for us, that's a big, major feat. No matter where I coached, it's always seemed to be a kind of a struggle, and it was for us last year as well. I think we lost a couple of games because of that. But, I feel very confident in those guys. And punt and punt return and our kickoff, it all comes down to mentality and us coaches teaching, kids exactly what it is they have to do and what to protect and that type of thing.
Who do you open up against this year, Coach? Is it a non-conference game? Yes,
we actually play at home this year versus Vernon Hills, which is non-conference for us. We played them last year. So we have a little bit of knowledge of what they do. The new coach last year as well. So it should be a fun opener for us.
And if I remember right, that was the week with the tornadoes and the thunderstorms. That was kind of a wild night for you guys, wasn't it, out there at Vernon Hills?
Yeah. We actually went out there. I think we tried to get on the field like 2 times, and they sent us back. And I think we actually started our game like at 11 o'clock. It was definitely a late starter. We got off the field, I think, at 12:30, something like that. So it was, for my first game coaching DeKalb, it was a lot of fun, not only because, we were successful, but also just the whole thing with the weather and the start time and that type of stuff.
You were one of the few teams that actually got to play a game that night and finish it, because everybody else was playing on Saturday or Monday.
Exactly, and I think the big part was as we wanted to play. Our kids were ready to play. Plus, it's a little bit of a drive, and no one wanted to drive back again the next day. So that had a little bit something to do with it. Before
I let you go, what's the goal for DeKalb? What will be a successful season for you when I talk to you next year?
For us, I think we just have to improve on what we did last year. From the year before, we gained three 3 wins. I think they had 2 wins the year before that. And for us is to get into the playoffs again, compete a little bit more with everybody in our conference, and maybe knock off one of those 2 or 3 really good teams in our conference, the Canelands, the Sycamores, Morris, all those teams, Yorkville. They're all very solid, and for us to get a win over one of those teams that we didn't get a win from last year would be big for us. And then, honestly, our main goal this year is obviously get in the playoffs and be successful, win a game. That'd be something that I think the community and the program would definitely benefit from. I think it hasn't been done in DeKalb for a long time. So, I think if that happens, if we can get in the playoffs and win a game or make a little run, that'd be huge for us.
Well, thanks so much, Coach, for taking time out. I still miss seeing you at those Belvidere games. We always enjoyed talking to you, and we appreciate it, and good luck to DeKalb this year.
Thank you very much.
We've been talking to Matt Weckler, the head football coach at DeKalb, here on the StatelineSportsHub.com.